And we're live. Well, being the camera hooch that I am, I had to do two shows in one night. I just was thinking about a little story that I wanted to share with you guys that I've never told you before. It's a true story. There's not one bit of this story that is going to be embellished by any means. It will be 100% true from beginning to end. And here's what happened to me. I call this synchronicity, a Pizza Boy story. As I was driving down Stadium Drive, coming back from a pizza delivery in a heavy rain on an early spring day, so it was chilly out. The kind of rain that was heavy but also fogged the windows quite tremendously. I had the heat, sort of blasting on the windows, and I pull up to the intersection of Drake and Stadium, which is a major intersection in Kalamazoo, right on the route back to my pizza job at Jet's Pizza. When suddenly, I hear through my cracked window, and not cracked, I mean lowered window, as I was smoking a cigarette on the way back from my delivery. I hear somebody yell, "Hey, Derek." He yells, "Hey, Derek." The window's lowered. The rain is coming down in ferocious walls of rain, washing against the window. The car's almost rocking back and forth. But because of the angle I was sitting at, apparently, I did have the window cracked to a good degree. Sometimes when you're in the right direction in a rainstorm, as you know, in a car, if three of the four offensive sides are blocked, where the rain is coming, you got quite a good rainstorm without any rain coming in the window per se. And that's what was happening here. So I'd be heading east on Stadium Drive over the Drake Road intersection. I'm waiting at the red light when I hear this person yell loudly my name in traffic, in rush hour traffic, in heavy rain. "Hey, Derek." Well, my name's not John. And so, knowing that that was a bit of a coincidence, I lowered my window even more, probably now catching some of the rain that was blowing around quite violently at the time. A cold rain. And I looked over, and there's a guy in a innocuous sedan type car, almost like a Ford Focus, or the year we're talking here would be you know I'm not real sure if it was pre or post pandemic, but if it was pre, it was very close. It would have been that same spring, probably before I broke my ankle, because I broke my ankle the same spring of the pandemic starting, which was April of 2019. I had to have plates and pins put in. And I know it was at the pandemic start for that because my surgeon I never even met. Because of pandemic rules, we never had a previous conversation, and my operation took place in a room with like 20 other people. For some reason, we didn't have our own rooms. The doctor was doing the surgeries in open spaces or something. I don't really know. Anyways, that's beside the point. The synchronicity is I hear, "Hey, Derek." So I look over, and there's a guy who happens to be black. No big deal. I mean, whatever. I know a lot of black people. Just saying. I guess it wasn't a white guy. He says, "Hey." And I looked at him. And I said, "Hey, do I know you?" And on, like further consideration, he looked at me and he said, "Oh, oh shit. I thought you were my friend Derek, who delivers pizzas." I've never met this person in my life. I said, "You're not going to believe this. Now I'm yelling across 2 lanes of traffic in rush hour with the rain pouring down. And if I start crying during this story, you help me. It's a real story. This happened to me. I said, my name is Derek, and I am delivering pizzas. But I've never met you. And he said, well, again, this is a long light. Okay, you guys, this whole conversation took place at this light. And he said, I'm in town filming a movie about pizza delivery. And would you mind consulting with me? So when we talk about synchronicities, a guy who's been delivering pizzas for over 30 years, whose name is Derek, who is delivering pizzas at the moment, and suddenly in a rainstorm, a man yells at him from a vehicle unknown to him. The man unknown to him. My friends can verify this story, by the way. I always bring receipts, guys, if I have to. Furthermore, I went on to do a bit part in the movie called Pizza Delivery, a movie. He yelled at me his phone number. I had the wherewithal to put that phone number in my phone and call him. At that point, we had a connection. Through this rainstorm, through this odd meeting of him calling me by my name, looking like his friend who delivers pizzas, but not being that guy, in a town named Kalamazoo, after he had gone to college at Western and had come back to make a movie about pizza delivery. If the synchronicities are adding up to a point, good, because they should be. It's a true story. This happened to me. Now, I'll tell you that the where I shot my bit part, I even improvised for the scene, was at a restaurant. Hello, Mustang. You may have to go back and listen to the beginning of this one. It involves quite a series of synchronicities that caught me in a movie by a person who called me his friend Derek on the road, who was in town filming a movie about pizza delivery, that he then realized I wasn't his friend Derek, but I was named Derek delivering pizzas, and wanted me to consult on his movie called Pizza Delivery, a movie. And I ended up doing a bit part in that movie, in which I then improvised a pizza delivery driver on my way to my actual fucking pizza delivery job. Let it sink in for a second. I don't know why I've never told you guys this story, but it's quite amazing when I think about it. These series of events that had to happen for me to do a bit part in a movie called Pizza Delivery, a movie, by a guy that used to go to Western Michigan University in Kalamazoo, Michigan, who said, "Hey, Derek." And then when I looked over, he goes, "Oh, I thought you were my friend Derek who delivers pizzas." And my name is Derek, and I'm delivering pizzas at that moment. Sometimes the synchronicities in life are bigger than life. And that's a true story. And I don't know if that movie's out there called Pizza Delivery, a movie. Because quite frankly, although I did quite excellent in the bit part. And by the way, we filmed it at a restaurant on the corner of North Street and Douglas Avenue, owned by 2 gay white guys in a black neighborhood. It didn't work out. Now it's a Mexican restaurant, and they have great Mexican food, by the way. But they had shut the restaurant down for the day. And I was on my way to work as a pizza delivery guy, consulting on a movie called Pizza Delivery, a movie by a guy in town making a movie about pizzas, and thought I was his friend Derek delivering pizzas, and my name is Derek. Sometimes it's so heavy, the synchronicities, that they don't make sense. And that's a true story. And I'm not bullshitting. And I don't know if that movie ever came out. I have a feeling again that if my time frame is right, it's right before I broke my ankle and had to have plates and pins put in. It was right when the pandemic happened, right there at that spring, April 19. I know it was a cold winter type rain, but not quite winter. And we filmed. When I went in, I can tell you it was a complete actual filming process. There were bright lights. There was a producer. There were people lined up in costume going in, shooting scenes. And I absolutely went in and shot a scene for this movie. Whether they used it or not, I don't know. But my role was to play a pizza delivery driver in which I'm delivering a large amount of pizzas to a guy running a pizza place who can't handle a large order. Anybody that's been in the business, which this guy was, he was in the pizza business and wanted to make movies about being in the pizza business. Thought I was his friend Derek. We met on the road while I'm on a pizza delivery. And I ended up being in the movie. Only in America, you guys. Only in America. I swear to God. And if I haven't had more weird shit like that happen in my life. Hey, Mustang, how you doing? It's good to see you. I wanted to come on, not with this big, crazy story. But as I'm thinking about it, I go, Farmer. I don't call myself Farmer. I'm doing that for the air. I don't know what I'm talking about. I've had 2 beers tonight, so look out. I said, that's a pretty good story. It's not just a story. I mean, this really happened to me. And it's verifiable. I don't know if that movie's out there. I don't know if it ever came out. The pandemic happened. I broke my ankle. I had a surgery. That was a whole mess. I was unemployed for weeks while I tried to get some kind of money in or something to pay the bills, It's hard to do when you're dealing with plates and pins. If you've ever seriously fractured, an ankle. That was a real goddamn mess. I ended up getting paid for that one. They were generous with the money, and someone at the Michigan was his friend Derek in the movie also. It's a very cosmic story. It is, Ruth. It's very cosmic. I mean, I didn't mean to. I don't know if his friend Derek ended up being in the movie. My extent of being in the movie with this gentleman was I remember him coming over my house while I was painting it briefly. And this hot, I think by then it was hot. This is weeks later. I don't know. It all happened all kind of at the same time. This surgery, an ankle break, a movie bit part. And I certainly wasn't in a cast for the movie bit part. So it had to be previous to that. I do remember a cold rain and walking to the restaurant there was quite a lot of cars parked there. It was at least 20 or 30 people lined up at this restaurant to go in and shoot their bit part. And I was to go in, by the way, to finish this. So this guy couldn't handle his order, and I'm to come in, they didn't even have any extra shit for me. I brought my own pizza bags. I brought my own improv lines. I walked in and I said, I even had a pen, and I said, make sure you give me my pen back, after you sign for it, not like last time. I mean, I improv the entire thing. I was meant for it. It was so great. It was so great. And it actually happened. This is not a figment of you guys of my imagination. I mean, you guys could accuse me. Well, Shay, I wouldn't normally, but as I've been sitting here, I rewatched my show from earlier. Look, I don't like to revel in things. But I was talking to Sister X on the phone, and I was texting with her. She got home back to Chicago with her and niece X, and after seeing Mom and me. And they listened to my show on the way back, so I re-listened to it, and I was like, sorry that I said the dog's balls were on my lap, or oh shit, sorry I said this, and no, anchovies, people always say that in the pizza industry, of course. I've been in that for a long time, of course. No, um, um, no, but there was some pretty good weed dealing schemes back in the day. I can tell you that. Um, before everything was all like at a dispensary and legal. I'm pretty old school. The first dispensary I ever worked at was my cousin's, and he used to run the illegal industry in a Battle Creek before he ran the legal one, and we were shut down by the Attorney General at the time, Bill Shooty, who I call Bill Shithead, and the Michigan State Police, and they had machine guns, and they threw us on the ground, and and they had to bring in fans, big fucking fans, to put in the into our dispensary because we were renegades. We smoked pot with the customers in the dispensary. We wanted to make sure they liked the product right there in the store. Fuck you. Everyone was 21 with a card. You didn't have to bust the door downs with machine guns. You could have just came in the front door like everybody else. It was open. But no, you got to make a big dramatic entrance, throw everybody on the ground. I sure do like our Attorney General now a lot more, Dana Nessel. She's a real American. Not somebody sold out to Pfizer. Bill Shooty, you shit piece of fucking shit. And that goes for the ex-governors as well. Both John Engler, who took $40 million out of the state and went to the Cayman Islands. You fat fuck. And that dick that used to work for Gateway Computers. I'm your smart nerd. While I rip everyone off and put all the money in my pocket and head the fuck out of state. You greedy bastards. You'll get what you deserve. You'll get what you deserve. Anyways, to go back to a lighter note, I don't know if his friend Derek was in the movie. I don't know if I was in the movie. I don't know if there was ever actually a movie, to be honest with you, because it's so embarrassing that I'm in a movie called Pizza Delivery. But the synchronicities leading up to me being in that movie are absolutely 100% real, verifiable with any friends that I could turn you on to. A number of people who were with me during that process going, what the fuck is going on in your life? How do you get a guy yell at you across traffic that calls you by your name thinking you're somebody else, doing the same job you're doing at the time, to do a bit part and consult on a movie involving what you do for a living, and then you go shoot the part on your way to your job where you're actually going to go do that for a living? I'm not a doctor. It'd be cooler if I was Dr. Kildare, or something. But there is a certain amount of charm to the way that worked out, in my opinion. No, I never did, Ruth. No, I made breakfast pizzas with eggs and cheese. I have had it baked into things. It has done one of two things: nothing, or completely screwed me up. It's so unregulatable to put cannabis, to me, in baked goods. Now, they sell these gummies nowadays. Look, I'll be honest with you, they don't really do much for me. I can eat a bag of gummy, I get a tummy ache. I'd rather get some actual sour gummies for just like $2 and a joint for like $4. Combine that and have a great experience because I can get stoned and then eat some Sour Patch Kids. It's much better than trying to eat a stupid gummy and trying to get high, in my opinion. Now, if you don't have the lung capacity due to illness or something, yes, eating it is a viable thing to do, but I don't think gummies is the way to do that, Dr. Barber. Yeah, well, as I'm smoking Pall Malls, the healthiest of cigarettes. Oh, really? Oh, that's of course he did. Richard Chamberlain. By the way, huge homo. My mom loved that Richard Chamberlain. Oh, what was that? Thornbirds? I mean, come on. I've been there. I've done that. Shogun, please. Shay, don't try to trick me. I know Shogun, girl. And Richard Chamberlain clearly would have had a huge crush on me. All right, I've had a couple tonight. Who you guys want to call the president? All he's going to say is, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And I don't mind quoting the president on that. He was Dr. Kildare. I actually never watched that. But everyone used to say, who are you, Dr. Kildare? You know. But I did watch, I was forced to, as a child, watch, along with Dr. Zhivago. I don't know if he was in that or not. He might have been. But somebody gay was in that for sure, Dr. Zhivago. But, my mom loved these epic multi-night. Do you guys remember that in the late 70s and early 80s? Those epic multi-night, big network, what do they call those? Drama series type events that would take place. Yes, just Shogun or Thornbirds or V. Oh, V was on Fox when it first came out with V. And then Comedy Central did like a kind of like a whole take on Andy Griffith, with Aunt B, and it was like B. I love that. Yeah, the show V. I think that's how Earth is pretty much really probably already is and gonna turn out. Yeah, like like those. No, not like V. More like You guys remember that Fox show that was a series for a while called something and something then something else, and it had these Alien Nation. Thank you, for nobody. Thank you, Derek Farmer. Alien Nation, and they would like do sexual things with like these weird spine connections. You guys remember that? And they were like police officers and stuff. It was called Alien Nation, and it came out in the late 80s. I know because I was still in high school and I was supposed to graduate in 1990, but I never graduated high school, which you guys can probably tell. My knowledge comes from my basic street living. However, I did score the highest, and this is one of those things, kind of a letdown, you guys. I'm just going to tell you another story about Derek Farmer. Something else that if my grandparents were alive, I mean, they're in a box up there. I can show you. They would corroborate that I indeed got the highest score ever recorded in Comstock Adult Ed on the GED. Now, that is a bit like, I don't know if that's worthy of reward to get the highest GED score. But my grandparents were sure proud. I scored 100% on the social studies aspect. I scored in the upper 90s in math. I scored 100% on English on the GED. That was after not attending school in 5 years or doing any studying whatsoever until I took that GED. And I did that right before I drove to Alaska to start a new life. And I want to make sure to have, I cut my hair and I got a GED. I said, okay, you've done what you can to straighten out the fuck-ups you made. I don't remember that. North and South miniseries. Okay, actually, I do remember that. Yeah, made for TV miniseries, Shay. A show is really popular that doesn't get much play. I don't know if it's because of replay. What do you call that? Like you don't see it on Netflix or any of the older options. There's a show called China Beach. It was quite popular in the early to mid 80s about, I believe, the Korean War. I think, yeah, not Vietnam, because Vietnam had so many shows already, between all those Vietnam shows. I mean, all those movies, Platoon, and just go on and on, Yeah, China Beach. Yeah, so hey, Silent Running, how are you tonight? I hope you're doing well. Um, yeah, so I just have such distinct memories of some of these shows that I'm not saying they made a huge impact in my life. I don't know what it was. We didn't have a lot of channels when I was a kid, so maybe the few shows that were on in that important time that you could be awake before school or being having to be responsible and doing whatever you had to do meant more. Shows like Tales from the Dark Side. Ah, damn, the beginning of Tales from the Dark Side. You watch that opening trailer, and as a 10 or 12-year-old boy, or girl, I can only imagine, would just send shivers up your spine. Ruth says I'm good at everything except math. However, I am really interested in physics. Yeah, I'm interested in it, but I don't understand a damn thing about it, Ruth. I'm like you. I'm terrible at math. It's my worst, absolutely worst subject, to be honest with you. I always excelled, honestly, at history and probably being cool. I don't know what I excelled at. The thing is, I tested really well as a kid. You would do those tests, in school, those sort of mysterious tests, and then your parents would get some kind of new, what we call the computer printout, it'd be on like a little piece of, what almost looked like a note card almost without the lines. And it's printed on there, different stats and shit about how smart or dumb you are. And I was always above average on all the day marks, I guess you would call it, but not in the highest category. It's slightly above average. I was never I never excelled at anything, but I wasn't behind on anything either. So, Tales from the Crypt was fucking awesome. Thank you, Mustang. I loved Tales from the Crypt. Shay says me too. Must be talking about math. Well, I had cable early on. We stole cable, and I can say that now because the 20 or 30-year, what do they call that? When you got to wait for a crime to, we stole HBO when I was 8 years old. I'm 52 now. I think that time has passed. We stole that by my stepdad was Dark Shadows, yeah, but I only caught that in a rerun later on. I never saw it in its original form, but great show. Ruth, absolutely love it. Love it. I could watch it to this day. In fact, I enjoy shit like that more. I'm starting to sound like an old man. I don't want to assert the shows are better. There are some new shows that I'm sure I'm not aware of that can meet those standards. But one of the last ones for me, and it's not even a new show anymore, was called Sinner. And I think it was Showtime, where it's got like some old retired detective, and the show takes like the whole season to develop out this one plot line. It's really intricate and generally creepy in a weird way. If anyone's watched The Sinner, I can't think of the actor's name who plays the retired detective, but really liked that show a few years back when I first saw it. But that's been a few years, Statute of limitations. Thanks. You can tell I'm not much of a criminal. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just not cool like that, I guess, you guys. I've always been afraid to get in trouble for a crime or to hurt somebody or to make someone. I was going to do a prank phone call once. This is no shit. I was a kid. I was maybe 10 or 11. And I don't know what I was going to say to this, but I could tell when the person answered the phone, it took a few rings, and they're like, hello. They sounded like 100. And I remember it was around the holidays, and all I could do was say, Merry Christmas, and I hung up on them, Merry Christmas! Ugh! You know? That was my phone call. Yeah. Big puss when it comes to it, really. The thought of hurting somebody's feelings for real, I don't see the attraction to that really. Yeah. Got to tap this one down because if you don't, it falls apart. What you guys had earlier. But I will tell you that a couple times, me and my buddy Matt ordered both pizzas and cabs to uncool neighbors across the street at 2 in the morning, and we would watch dueling cabs pull up and honk in the driveway. I did find that fun. But I was 37 or 12 or something. Like, I don't know. You got a new truck? Shit. Well, if it's got heat, you got your heat problem solved. I mean, I'd rather live in a new truck than a 15-room house with no heat. I love trucks. What kind did you get? What did you get, Shay? This happened between shows? What the fuck? I mean, you didn't have a new truck when I did a 2-hour show earlier. Now you got a new truck. I'd like to know what kind. I want to guess. You got a, oh, God. I'm going to guess this truck. Shay, don't put it up there, Shay. No. I'm going to say, you got a Ford. Oh, shit. But Shay, I just didn't see that. You put it up there, but I didn't look until, man, I almost said Dodge, but I said Ford. And look, you got a Ranger. I love those new Rangers. Oh, 2020 is a new Ranger. Dodge Durango? Wait, Ruth. Oh, wait, who got the new truck? You guys, I've had 2 beers. What's going on? You guys know how I get after 2 beers. Shay said statute of limitations. Ruth, Shay, so could I. Shay says I got a new truck. Then Shay says Ranger. Ruth says Dodge Durango. Lisa says I love the stories of synchronicity, which is what I was doing my show about. I don't know what fucking show you guys are doing. I love it. I don't know what I'm doing here twice in one night, really, to be honest with you. But it was a story of synchronicity, Lisa. I mean, it was probably the most, honestly, a synchronous story of my life when it comes to what I do for a living, my name, and then like all this other crap, that fell in line about me being in a movie about what I do for a living, on my way to do that for a living. It was real weird now that I say it out loud like that, you guys. But that's exactly how it came down. Maybe you'll find it on the internet. If you do, please tell me. I'm not going to look for it. It may be out there somewhere. I'm quite sure it didn't get any theater time. But there were people lined up, and there were real producers, there were real cameras, and scenes were being filmed. I can tell you that. People saying, like action, cut, and all that kind of crap was going on. I then took that opportunity to improvise over the lines they gave me. I didn't feel like it was the 1 or 2 lines they gave me was enough for waiting in the rain that long. So I turned into 5 or 6 lines and went on to work to tell them the story about how I just acted in a movie about pizza delivery. And they're just like, only farmer could do this in pizza delivery. And I go, you're right. I'm not your average fucking pizza delivery guy. I keep telling you guys that. Well, yeah, I know, Shay, you had that, but also, it wasn't, you weren't in the high-speed chase, so didn't someone steal that drug? I mean, I don't think this story's like when my grandma passed away and we finally had that reception at the Kingdom Hall, because we're not Jehovah's Witnesses, me and my family. Just my grandma was. Even my grandpa that was married to her wasn't a Jehovah's Witness. He said, Julie, these kids don't want to go to that church. You're not going to make them bury their heads in the sand like ostriches like you all are. My grandpa was an atheist. He was a realist. You know why? Because he was put in this Catholic home for boys in Jackson, Michigan in the 30s. He didn't like religion. He didn't like what it represented. He was abused. Oh, yeah, Shay, I know. I totally kind of remember the story as you're telling me. Yeah, well, that's really weird, Lisa. I mean, That's what I'm saying. Like, Derek isn't the most common name. To get that while I'm delivering pizzas in a rainstorm, in traffic, guy who thinks I'm his friend Derek, and then happens to be in town filming a movie about delivering pizza that he now wants me to consult and be in. On my way to actually deliver pizza. Again, it's just a lot to choke down. Even one or two synchronicities on that is a lot. But there are like 7 corroborating cross synchronicities in that story. It's the most concisely book-ended synchronous thing that's ever happened in my life, for sure. I can only hope that movie will come out someday and my part wasn't taken out or edited out in some way. What the rest of the movie was about, I have no idea. I didn't see it being filmed. I only know I waited in line to film my part, and because I had to be to work at a real pizza job, I got to go ahead of the other freaks dressed up. Only Derek Farmer that shit happens to, as far as I know. Maybe it's just the amount of years I've delivered pizza. Eventually, someone was going to mistake me for their friend who delivered pizzas and put me in a movie. I don't know. But they did it. And I don't regret it. Too bizarre. Well, yeah, that sucks if somebody has to violate your personal stuff like that. I don't like that. I don't like thieves. I'll be honest with you. So one thing I don't have much tolerance for, unless it's like someone's cold and they take like your long johns off the line, or not that I really want anyone wearing. I don't even have long johns. I'm just saying. I'm thinking like 1800s. Someone's hungry and they like steal a sandwich out of your fridge. I don't want anyone coming to my house to steal a sandwich. I'll be honest. If they're hungry, they can knock on the fucking door. I'll give them a sandwich. You come to my house, it's a whole different deal. You can see what we got going on here. No one's coming in my place. And if they do, I'm going to blow their fucking brains out. I've had people try to come in my place before. No. Ruth, 37 years in the business. I do not like pineapple on pizza. Not. Oh, you don't either. Good. I'm glad to see you. In fact, I think we start a movement here right now, right here, where we don't do that anymore to pizza. Why don't we just put bananas on ground beef pizza? Exactly my thought. Why not just make some, why not just, if you're in California, just get some bark and some fucking braids and some patchouli and throw it on there and call it pizza? No, Ruth, you're correct. That's not pizza, my dear. And I'm in the business 37 years, and you are correct. Now, in New Mexico, they had something called the Roadrunner Pizza. That had jalapenos and pepperoni. Okay. Pineapple? Ruth, we know better. Pineapple is for upside down cake, not for pizza. Shay, I love you, Shay. Give me a reason to get faux angry about some ridiculous shit, and I will. You were? Did you mention pineapple in the coleslaw? I must have missed that. I may have. I have to go back and watch it on YouTube because there is a lot of comments that I end up missing. I didn't know people put pineapple on there, and maybe just my friend did this. In fact, the same friend that's considering opening a business. I was well into my 20s when he ordered pineapple on his cottage cheese. I was quite offended. I thought he was trying to embarrass me with that. I said, don't ever fucking order fruit on your cottage cheese with me again, But he said it was a whole thing. He was from up north, and that up north they did things like that, or if they had sheep or something like that, they would back them up to a cliff and get behind them. Whatever that means. Because they had to back up on, what I'm saying. You cannot trust people from up north. I contend that I know somebody from up north that put their penis in a frozen chicken. I'm not going to name that person. I don't talk to that person. People do what they want. But damn if I'm ever shopping at an IGA again. Well, that's the kind of loose show we got here, Ruth. It's pretty loose. We don't make stuff up, though. The thing is, if I make it up, I usually say I just made that up. I really don't like carrying on fake stories. That pizza story I just told you with those synchronicities is 100% true, is according to my memory. And I certainly can. I can't make people come on the air live and be like, "Oh, he's not lying." First of all, half those people can't stand me anymore, and the other half, they're quite frankly not comfortable coming on the air. My own sister makes me call her Sister X, as a matter of fact. She listened to the show on the way home, by the way. Her and niece X were driving home, and the last 2-hour show. She said it was quite amusing, so that always makes me feel good. Well, what do they put on watermelon? Coleslaw? Or pineapple? I don't get it. Ruth. I don't understand why we can't look at everything individually. I'm happy just eating watermelon. I don't need anything special to go with it. I'm pretty traditional. Hawaiian coleslaw. No, that doesn't really sound made up, to be honest with you. I mean, they grow the pineapples right in Hawaii, and something tells me if they wanted to grow cabbage, no reason they can't. Probably several crops a year in Hawaii of cabbage. Some kind of beautiful Hawaiian cabbage, I would eat a Hawaiian. If I was in Hawaii, okay, let me back up. Ruth, I want to state, if I'm in Hawaii having pizza or coleslaw, and traditionally they put those things in there, I'm going to eat it, and I'm going to like it. But don't try to force feed me your fad pizza here in what we call from there, the upper 48, or from Alaska, where I was at for a while, the lower 48, and tell me that pineapple belongs on pizza. It's one of these things. It's really a love or hate thing, you guys. It really is. And it's in the industry. It's also something that is discussed percentage wise, and there's different percentages through the years that show both and it's very popular in a college town where I'm at, Kalamazoo. I don't know. I do like Hawaiian rolls, or what do they call that? The Hawaiian buns. I must say we're on the same page. Oh, you guys. Oh, shit. I have to go throw the meat on the grill. I'm going to have to cut this live. I don't want to waste my charcoal. I forgot that I started my grill before I even started this live. And I wasn't going to go live. I don't know what the frick I hit the live button for. I can't stay off the camera. But I need to have this little bit of red meat and coleslaw. I can leave the camera going for all that, but I'm gonna have to be out there for several minutes cooking it. So I have 45 minutes for my second live of the night. This is Derek Farmer live from the mountaintop in the swamp. Thanks everyone for taking part tonight. Shay, Mustang, I love you guys more than I can even begin to express. It was the second funnest live of the night. The last one was the first. I had so much fun, I had to do it again. Call me a sucker. I like the I don't have television. I don't have cable, so I either have to watch someone else's content or make my own. And thank you, Ruth. Thank you so much. I'm gonna chow down a wide load, and I'm gonna eat real good, and I'm gonna pass out probably. And tomorrow's gonna be Tuesday, and we're gonna get up and we're gonna do it all over again, and we're gonna get on into Kalamazoo and make our money for the day until we get a better job that doesn't involve so much commuting. But until then, we're going to bust our behind, and we're going to just do what we do and pay our bills. I'm, all paid up on my bills. It's could be a lot worse for me. It's been worse for me, and I'm sure glad to not be so stressed out about that kind of stuff all the time, and to be able to convey that to you all, that maybe that sometimes, even though life is shitty, and you lose things you love and like, that if as long as it's a not like a person or a living thing, it don't really matter. Only thing that matters losing is living things. These other shit around us don't really matter, because I got a roof over my head. It's not leaking, so it doesn't have to be made out of wood and cement. This cheap tin is fine with me. And I'm glad to have you all here with me, because I don't feel alone with you guys here, in the bean field, what I call the Derek Farmer bean field wars. I'm so sorry. So sorry to my Mexican friends. Anyways, you guys have a great night. I'm going to go throw this shit on the grill before I lose my flame. And we'll talk to you guys soon. Who knows? Who knows how soon it could be. Clearly, a little bit sooner than maybe even some of you might like. From the mountaintop in the swamp, this is Derek Farmer, the Derek Farmer Network. Thanks for joining me tonight, and we look forward to seeing you all next time. Thank you.